Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. There is a difference between a woman who simply exists and a woman who walks in wisdom, confidence, purpose. A smart woman knows where her strength comes from. A smart woman does not allow life, people, or circumstances to define her value. She defines herself by what she chooses to depend on. See, the problem with many is that they lean on everything that's unstable. They lean on approval from people who can change their mind tomorrow. They lean on relationships that come with conditions. They lean on money that can disappear overnight. But a smart woman understands, if I'm going to stand, I need to depend on something stronger than what can be shaken. Let me tell you, smart women don't just survive, they thrive. They thrive because they know where to put their weight. They don't just lean anywhere, they lean on foundations that cannot be moved. They understand that if the foundation is strong, the house can withstand the storm. There comes a point in every woman's life when she realizes that everything around her can shift in a moment. People can change, relationships can end, money can run out, positions can be taken away, and opportunities can vanish as quickly as they appeared. But a woman who is truly wise knows that she cannot put her trust in things that are temporary. She cannot build her house on sand and expect it to stand when the storm comes. She cannot place her identity in the opinions of people because the same crowd that cheers today may turn against her tomorrow. She cannot anchor her worth in material possessions because material possessions can be lost, stolen, or destroyed. Instead, a truly smart woman learns to depend on something deeper, something unshakable, movable, eternal. She learns to depend on her faith and her inner spirit. Faith is not a decoration you put on the shelf and dust off on Sundays. Faith is the foundation that keeps you standing when life throws its hardest punches. Faith is what whispers to you in the midnight hour when your pillow is soaked with tears and nobody knows what you are carrying. Faith is what reminds you that you were created for more than the pain you are going through. Faith is what lifts your chin when life tries to bow your head. Faith is not just something you talk about, it is something you walk in, something you breathe in, something that saturates your very being. Inner spirit becomes her compass. It is the still, small voice inside of her that guides her when logic has no answer. It is that nudge in her heart that says, don't settle, don't quit, don't give up here, because greater is waiting ahead. The inner spirit is the place where her true strength resides. People may look at her on the outside and see beauty, style, intelligence, and charisma. But what truly makes her unstoppable is the depth of her spirit, because when the outside world collapses, it is the inner spirit that holds her together. A smart woman knows that life is not always fair. She knows that disappointment will come. She knows that heartbreak is real. She knows that betrayal stings. She knows that sometimes she will be misunderstood, underestimated, and overlooked. She also knows that her faith keeps her steady. Her faith whispers, what you lost is not the end. What you walked away from is not greater than what's coming. Her faith reminds her that even in the wilderness, there is provision. Even in the fire, there is protection. Even in the valley, there is purpose. When people look at a smart woman, they may admire her confidence. What they don't realize is that confidence is born out of conviction. Conviction comes from faith. She is not confident because life has always gone her way. She is confident because she has survived things that were meant to break her. She is not confident because people have always supported her. She is confident because she learned how to stand even when she stood alone. Faith became her anchor, and her spirit became her fuel. Her faith and her inner spirit are not passive. They are active. They push her to dream bigger when others tell her to shrink. They push her to forgive when bitterness tries to poison her heart. They push her to keep building even when others have abandoned the project. They push her to love again, even after love has wounded her. Her faith is what transforms her scars into testimonies. Her inner spirit is what transforms her silence into strength. Let me tell you, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who is anchored in her faith and rooted in her spirit. You can try to shake her, but she will not fall. You can try to silence her, but her voice will find a way to rise. You can try to limit her. Her faith will open doors that no man can shut. You can try to break her, but her inner spirit will remind her that she is unbreakable. This kind of woman does not need external validation to confirm who she is. She does not need the applause of the crowd to feel valuable. She does not need the constant approval of others to move forward. Her validation comes from within. Her approval comes from above, and her confidence comes from the spirit that dwells inside her. She has learned that if she depends on people for her worth, she will always live in disappointment. But if she depends on her faith, she will always live in abundance. Faith teaches her patience. It teaches her that not everything happens when she wants it to happen, but everything happens when it is meant to happen. Teaches her to stop chasing what is not aligned with her destiny. Faith teaches her to let go of doors that have closed so that she can walk into doors that are opening. Faith teaches her that rejection is not always a curse. Sometimes it is a redirection. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is preparation for something greater. Inner spirit is what helps her discern the difference between what is temporary and what is eternal. It gives her the courage to walk away from things that glitter but have no gold. It gives her the strength to resist the pressure of comparison, to stop measuring her life against someone else's highlight reel. It reminds her that her journey is uniquely hers, that her timing is divinely orchestrated, that her worth cannot be diminished by what she lacks or delayed by what she waits for. When the storms of life come, and they will come, her faith keeps her steady. When the winds of change blow, her spirit keeps her rooted. When the fire of trials burns, her faith keeps her protected. When the voices of doubt shout, her spirit speaks louder. This is why she survives what others could not survive. This is why she smiles even when she has every reason to cry. This is why she keeps moving when the road ahead looks uncertain. Her faith and her inner spirit are her greatest weapons. They are invisible to the human eye. They are undeniable in their power. They give her vision when others are blind. They give her hope when others have given up. They give her peace when others are falling apart. They give her courage when others are consumed by fear. So when you see a smart woman standing tall, understand this: she is not standing because life has been easy. She is standing because her faith has been strong. She is not shining because she never faced darkness. She is shining because her inner spirit refused to let the darkness win. She is not powerful because she never knew weakness. She is powerful because in her weakness, her faith carried her through. That is why she depends on her faith and her inner spirit above all else. Because everything else may fade, but faith remains. Everything else may break, her inner spirit will rebuild. Everything else may shift, but the foundation of her faith will keep her grounded. And as long as she has that, she has everything she needs. There is something profoundly different about a woman who walks in wisdom. She may not be the loudest in the room. She may not be the one who demands attention. She may not even be the one society points to as the most glamorous or the most accomplished. Yet when you encounter her, you cannot help but feel her presence. Why? Because wisdom radiates. It doesn't need to boast. It doesn't need to compete. It doesn't need to prove itself. Wisdom carries a quiet power that sets her apart. You see, beauty can turn heads, but wisdom turns lives. Charm may capture attention for a moment, but wisdom holds influence for a lifetime. A smart woman knows that her true wealth is not found in the things she wears, the car she drives, or the status she holds. Greatest wealth is in the way she thinks, the way she reasons, the way she perceives. Her wisdom and mindset become the engine that carries her through both the mountaintops and the valleys of life. A woman of wisdom does not allow her emotions to be her master. She feels deeply, but she does not let her feelings dictate every decision. She understands that every impulse does not deserve a reaction. Every opinion does not deserve an argument. Every opportunity does not deserve her presence. Wisdom whispers, pause before you answer, pray before you move. Think before you leap. Her mindset is not reactive. It is proactive. She refuses to be dragged by the chaos of life. Instead, she sets the rhythm. Her wisdom also teaches her the power of perspective. Two people can face the same situation, but the one with wisdom sees it differently. Where others see a setback, she sees a setup. Where others see rejection, she sees redirection. Where others see failure, she sees a lesson. Her mindset transforms challenges into classrooms. She does not crumble under pressure because she understands that pressure produces diamonds. She does not run from storms because she knows storms water the seeds of growth. She does not resist pruning because she knows pruning makes room for greater fruit. This kind of mindset cannot be bought. It cannot be borrowed, cannot be faked. It is cultivated. It is shaped by experience, by reflection, by discipline. A woman who values wisdom seeks to learn from every season. When things go well, she celebrates but also studies what worked. When things fall apart, she grieves but also extracts the lesson. She understands that nothing in her life is wasted if she has the wisdom to see the purpose behind it. A smart woman also understands that wisdom is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is information, but wisdom is application. Knowledge can be memorized, but wisdom must be lived. Knowledge fills the mind, but wisdom transforms the heart. She does not simply gather facts, she discerns how to use them. She does not simply chase success, she learns how to sustain it. Her mindset is not about accumulation. It is about alignment. She aligns her thoughts with her vision, her decisions with her values, her actions with her purpose. Her wisdom guides her relationships. She knows that not every hand extended to her is meant to hold her. Not every smile is a sign of loyalty. Not every crowd is a community. Wisdom gives her discernment, an inner radar that allows her to sense who is for her and who is against her, who deserves her energy and who only drains it, who needs her help and who only seeks to exploit it. Because of her wisdom, she chooses carefully. She invests in those who add value to her journey, and she withdraws from those who poison her peace. This mindset also protects her from comparison. She does not waste her energy competing with other women. Wisdom reminds her that her lane is uniquely hers. She doesn't envy someone else's progress because she knows her timing is divinely designed. She doesn't shrink when she sees someone else shining because she understands that someone else's light does not dim her own. Wisdom allows her to clap for others while still working on her own breakthrough. Her mindset says, "What is mine will find me. What is meant for me will not pass me by." A woman of wisdom also knows how to guard her words. She understands that the tongue is a weapon that can heal or destroy, build or tear down. She refuses to waste words on gossip, on slander, petty conversations. Instead, she speaks with purpose. Her words carry weight because they are birthed out of thoughtfulness. People listen to her not because she talks the most, but because when she speaks, her voice carries truth, depth, and clarity. Her mindset is not only about what she avoids, it's about what she embraces. She embraces growth. She is willing to admit when she doesn't know something, because wisdom is not threatened by ignorance. Wisdom is hungry to learn. She reads, she listens, she observes, she asks questions. She understands that wisdom is not a destination, it is a lifelong journey. Every day, she adds another layer of understanding, another brick of clarity, another stone of discernment. And here is the most beautiful thing about a woman who depends on wisdom and mindset. She becomes unshakable in a world that is constantly trying to shake her. When the economy shifts, she doesn't panic, she adjusts. When relationships change, she doesn't lose herself, she adapts. When doors close, she doesn't collapse, she looks for windows. When opportunities delay, she doesn't despair, she prepares. Her wisdom becomes her anchor. Her mindset becomes her strategy. Even in the face of pain, wisdom gives her perspective. She may cry, but she does not crumble. She may fall, she does not stay down. She may be hurt, but she does not allow bitterness to harden her heart. Wisdom teaches her to process the pain, learn from it, then rise stronger than before. Her mindset says, I may not have control over everything that happens to me. I do have control over how I respond. That response, rooted in wisdom, is what separates her from the rest. A woman like this becomes magnetic. People want to be around her, not because she has all the answers, but because she carries a sense of calm in the storm, a sense of direction in confusion, a sense of strength in weakness. Her mindset shifts atmospheres. Her wisdom builds bridges. Her very presence carries solutions. And so when you look at her life, you realize that her strength does not come from external validation, but from internal clarity. She doesn't just survive because she is tough. She thrives because she is wise. She doesn't just make decisions because she has options. She makes them because she has discernment. She doesn't just move forward because time is passing. She moves because her mindset is aligned with her destiny. That is why she depends on her wisdom and mindset above all else, because everything else can change, but the mind she cultivates will always guide her. Everything else can fade, but the wisdom she carries will always sustain her. A smart woman doesn't just live by chance, she lives by choice. And those choices are birthed from a mind that has been trained by wisdom. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who knows where she begins and where she ends. A woman who understands that her worth is not up for negotiation, her dignity is not for sale, and that her soul is not a playground for anyone's carelessness. Such a woman is rare because too often in this world, women are taught to stretch themselves thin, to give until they are empty, to bend until they break, and to tolerate things that eat away at their peace. But a truly smart woman understands that she must draw lines in the sand. She must create boundaries that protect her mind, her heart, and her spirit. She must honor herself with self-respect so deep that no circumstance, no relationship, and no opportunity can strip it away. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates. They are not meant to isolate her, but to regulate access to her. She does not let just anyone into her sacred space because she knows not everyone comes with good intentions. She understands that people come with different spirits, different energies, and different agendas. And if she is not careful, she can absorb their dysfunction. That is why she creates boundaries, not to shut love out, but to protect her peace. A woman who respects herself sets the standard for how others treat her. She doesn't beg for love because she knows love given under duress is not love at all. She doesn't chase attention because attention that must be chased is too fragile to hold. She doesn't accept disrespect disguised as affection. She doesn't confuse manipulation for loyalty. She has learned to listen to actions more than words, and when someone shows her who they are, she believes them the first time. That is self-respect. That is wisdom in action. You see, boundaries are not cruelty, they are clarity. When a smart woman says no, it is not because she is selfish, but because she understands that every yes must be measured. She understands that every time she says yes to something that drains her, she is saying no to something that could fulfill her. Every time she says to people who misuse her, she is saying no to the version of herself that deserves better. Her no is sacred, protects her yes for the things that truly matter. Self-respect means she refuses to shrink to fit into places that cannot handle her light. She doesn't apologize for her intelligence. She doesn't dim her brilliance so others won't feel insecure. She doesn't silence her voice to keep others comfortable. She understands that if her presence offends someone, that is not her burden to carry. She refuses to abandon herself in order to be accepted by others. A woman with boundaries is not cold, she is wise. She is not arrogant, she is aware. She is not unkind, she is careful. Her boundaries protect her time, her body, her energy, her dreams, her heart. She understands that everything she has is precious, and what is precious must be guarded. She doesn't let people borrow her peace as if it were cheap. She doesn't let people play with her time as if it were endless. She doesn't let people treat her body as if it were disposable. She knows her value. Because she knows her value, she demands value in return. Self-respect also means she no longer feels the need to explain herself endlessly. She understands that her worth does not require justification. If she chooses to walk away from a toxic relationship, she does not owe an essay to those who cannot understand. If she chooses to decline an opportunity that compromises her values, she does not have to defend her decision to the crowd. If she chooses to rest instead of overwork, she does not need to convince anyone of her right to protect her health. She knows that respect for herself sometimes means disappointing others. She has made peace with that. There is a strength in her silence because silence is often the loudest boundary she can set. She does not need to clap back at every insult because her absence is enough of an answer. She does not need to fight for every seat at the table because sometimes walking away creates her own table. She does not need to prove her innocence in the court of gossip because truth has a way of defending itself over time. She respects herself enough to rise above the noise. Let me make this clear. Self-respect is not about perfection. It is not about never making mistakes. It is about refusing to repeat the mistakes that strip her of her dignity. It is about recognizing when she has given too much and pulling herself back into balance. It is about forgiving herself when she has crossed her own boundary, and then recommitting to honor herself again. Self-respect is not rigid, it is resilient. A smart woman with boundaries also inspires others. She teaches people how to treat her not by her words, but by her actions. When she refuses to tolerate disrespect, she communicates her standard. When she chooses her peace over drama, she teaches others the value of stillness. When she honors her body by caring for it enough, she demonstrates that self-love is not selfish. Her life becomes a silent sermon showing the world that respect starts from within. Here is the truth. Without boundaries, even the strongest woman will collapse. Without self-respect, even the most intelligent woman will be diminished because life will take as much as you are willing to give. People will drain as much as you allow them to drain. Circumstances will push you as far as you permit them to push. That is why a smart woman builds fences around her spirit, not to imprison herself, but to protect her from exploitation. There will always be people who misunderstand a woman with boundaries. Call her difficult because she refuses to be disrespected. They will call her proud because she refuses to settle. They will call her cold because she refuses to be used. But she knows the truth. She knows that their discomfort is not her responsibility. She knows that her boundaries are not a reflection of cruelty, but a courage. She knows that those who truly value her will never be offended by her standards. Self-respect is the soil in which her confidence grows. It is the foundation upon which her peace rests. It is the compass that guides her choices. With every decision she makes to honor herself, she grows stronger. She learns that her no is powerful. Her silence is purposeful. Her standards are sacred. She learns that she cannot control how others treat her, but she can control how long she allows it. And so, a woman who lives with boundaries and self-respect is not easily broken. She may bend, but she does not snap. She may be challenged, but she does not compromise. She may be tested, but she does not surrender her dignity. She stands tall not because life has been kind, because she has been kind enough to herself to stand. That is why she depends on her boundaries and her self-respect, because without them, she loses herself. With them, she becomes unshakable. With them, she becomes untouchable. With them, she becomes the kind of woman who cannot be manipulated, who cannot be reduced, who cannot be erased. Life has a way of testing you. It will throw storms your way without warning. It will pull the rug from under your feet when you least expect it. It will strip away your comfort, challenge your identity, push you to places you never thought you'd have to go. And yet, in the middle of all that shaking, there is a certain kind of woman who refuses to break. She bends, but she does not snap. She falls, but she rises again. She is wounded, but she does not stay down. That kind of woman carries resilience and grit like a crown on her head, and it is this spirit that makes her unstoppable. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is the strength forged in the fire of adversity. It is the courage carved out of the stone of disappointment. It is the wisdom refined in the classroom of pain. A woman who has resilience has not had an easy life. She has simply chosen not to let life defeat her. She has been knocked down, betrayed, overlooked, underestimated, and yet she still finds the strength to keep moving forward. Grit, on the other hand, is the fuel that drives her. It is the inner determination that refuses to quit. It is the voice inside of her that says, I will not give up here. I will not surrender to this valley. I will not bow to this obstacle. Grit gives her the endurance to run the marathon, not just the sprint. It gives her the persistence to keep sowing seeds even when the ground looks barren. It gives her the discipline to keep showing up day after day, even when results are slow to appear. A smart woman understands that resilience is not about avoiding pain, it is about surviving it. It is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about choosing to rise even when everything is broken. Resilience allows her to look at her scars not as signs of weakness, but as proof that she has survived what was meant to destroy her. Each scar tells a story. Each scar is a testimony. Each scar whispers, "She made it." Resilience also reshapes her perspective. Where others see the end, she sees a beginning. Where others see defeat, she sees training. Where others see loss, she sees preparation. Her mindset tells her that life is not happening to her. Life is happening for her. She understands that every valley she has walked through has taught her endurance. Every storm she has weathered has taught her strength. Every mountain she has climbed has built her stamina. She is not bitter about her battles because she knows they made her who she is. You cannot keep a resilient woman down. You can push her back, but she will come back stronger. You can shut her out. She will build her own door. You can tell her she is not enough, but she will rise up and prove that she is more than enough. Resilience makes her a fighter. Grit makes her a finisher. She doesn't just survive the war, she comes out victorious. Grit also gives her the courage to pursue her dreams when others give up. Dreams are easy to start, but they are hard to sustain. Many people quit when the road gets rough, when the applause dies down, when the results take too long. But grit tells her to keep going. Grit tells her to get up earlier, to work harder, to try again, to refuse to let excuses become her story. Grit keeps her moving when motivation fades. Grit keeps her consistent when the crowd has disappeared. A woman with resilience and grit doesn't measure herself by the number of times she fell, but by the number of times she got back up. She doesn't let failure define her. She lets it refine her. She doesn't let pain paralyze her. She lets it propel her. She understands that greatness is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the ability to rise in spite of it. Resilience also makes her compassionate. Because she has been through pain, she understands the pain of others. Because she has been broken, she knows how to help someone else put the pieces back together. Because she has had to start over, she can encourage someone else who is at the beginning. Her strength is not just for herself, it becomes a source of healing for those around her. And yet, don't mistake her resilience for softness. She may be gentle, but she is not weak. She may be kind, but she is not naive. She may forgive, but she does not forget the lessons life has taught her. Her resilience comes with wisdom, and her grit comes with fire. Together, they make her a force that cannot be ignored. Her resilience also means she knows how to rest. Because resilience is not about running until you collapse. It is about knowing when to pause so you can rise again. A resilient woman knows that rest is not weakness, it is renewal. She allows herself to grieve, to breathe, to heal, and then she gets back up with more strength than before. Every season of her life has prepared her. The heartbreaks taught her how to mend. Disappointments taught her how to hope. The betrayals taught her how to trust wisely. The losses taught her how to value what truly matters. Wound was a teacher. Every trial was a trainer. Every valley was a classroom. And now, when she stands tall, it is not because she has never fallen. It is because she has learned how to rise. Resilience gives her faith. Grit gives her fire. Together, they give her a future. And when you look at her, you can see the glow of a woman who has fought battles you know nothing about. You can see the strength of someone who refused to quit when quitting would have been easier. You can see the grit of someone who chose discipline over excuses, persistence over doubt, courage over fear. A smart woman understands this truth. She may not be able to control the storm. She can control how she sails through it. She may not be able to avoid the fire, but she can decide whether it burns her down or refines her gold. She may not be able to escape the valley, but she can choose to walk through it with courage. That choice, that resilience, that grit is what makes her unbreakable. So when you see her standing tall, understand this: she is not standing because the winds never blew against her. She is standing because her roots went deep. She is not smiling because she never cried. She is smiling because she refused to let tears have the final say. She is not thriving because life has been easy. She is thriving because resilience carried her and grit pushed her forward. And that is why, when all is said and done, her resilience and grit become her crown. They are the reason she survives the storm, the reason she builds again after loss, the reason she shines even after the darkness. They are the proof that no matter what comes against her, she will always rise. No woman rises to greatness by herself, no matter how strong, how brilliant, or how determined she may be. There comes a moment when she realizes she cannot carry the weight of destiny alone. Even the most resilient woman needs a circle. Even the wisest woman needs counsel. Even the strongest woman needs encouragement. A smart woman understands this truth. Her strength is multiplied when she surrounds herself with the right people. That is why she values her circle of support. Her circle is not just a crowd, it is a covering. It is not about the number of people who follow her, applaud her, or flatter her. It is about the quality of those who walk beside her. She is not impressed by noise, she is drawn to loyalty. She does not seek popularity, she seeks trust. She does not measure her worth by how many stand with her when she succeeds, but by how many remain when she struggles. A smart woman knows that the wrong circle can destroy her destiny just as quickly as the right one can protect it. That is why she chooses carefully. She understands that not every smiling face is a supportive friend, not every compliment is sincere, and not every hand extended is meant to lift her. She has discernment. She knows that some people come to distract, some to drain, and some to destroy. But her circle of support is different. They sharpen her, they challenge her, they strengthen her. They remind her of who she is when life tries to make her forget. Her circle is made up of truth tellers. They do not tell her only what she wants to hear. They tell her what she needs to hear. They call her higher. They correct her when she strays. They encourage her when she is weary. They refuse to let her settle for less than her best. She understands that flattery may feel good in the moment, truth sustains her in the long run. And because she values growth more than comfort, she surrounds herself with those who are not afraid to hold her accountable. Her circle is also made up of encouragers. They are the ones who see her tears and remind her that she has survived worse. They are the ones who look at her scars and see strength instead of shame. They are the ones who cheer for her when the world is silent, who clap for her when others are quiet, who pray for her when she doesn't have the words to pray for herself. Their encouragement is not empty, it is rooted in love. It is born from a genuine desire to see her rise. She also understands that support must be mutual. Circle is not built on one-sided relationships where she always gives and others always take. No, she pours into them, and they pour into her. She stands for them, and they stand for her. Her victories are their victories, and their victories are hers. She is not threatened by their success. They are not jealous of hers. Together, they rise. Her circle of support also includes mentors, voices of wisdom that carry the weight of experience. She listens to those who have walked paths she has not yet traveled. She respects the guidance of those who see farther than she does. She does not mistake independence for isolation. She knows that she does not lose strength by learning from others. She gains it. She does not become smaller by seeking counsel. She becomes wiser. But her circle is not only about mentors and friends, it is also about community. Smart woman knows that isolation is dangerous. Alone, she may become vulnerable to fear, to doubt, to discouragement. But in community, she finds safety. In community, she finds energy. In community, she finds joy. When she stumbles, there are hands to lift her. When she grows weary, there are voices to remind her to keep going. When she doubts herself, there are eyes to reflect back the truth of who she really is. Her circle of support also protects her vision, because vision can be fragile. It can be crushed by negativity, choked by doubt, and silenced by discouragement. That is why she refuses to share her dreams with just anyone. She confides in those who believe in her, even when her dream is only a seed. She surrounds herself with people who water her vision, not those who uproot it. She knows that the wrong voices can kill her confidence. The right voices can fuel her faith. Her circle also keeps her balanced. They remind her that she is more than her work, more than her accomplishments, more than her responsibilities. They encourage her to rest, to laugh, to live. They remind her that her worth is not measured by how much she does, but by who she is. They ground her when the world tries to pull her in 100 directions. They anchor her when fame, success, or recognition threaten to distort her priorities. A woman with a circle of support walks differently. She walks with confidence because she knows she is not walking alone. She speaks boldly because she knows she has voices echoing behind her. She dares greatly because she knows she has hands ready to catch her if she falls. Her circle becomes her safety net, her shield, her fuel. She also understands that not everyone can go with her. As she grows, her circle becomes smaller. She learns that some people are only meant for a season, not a lifetime. She learns to release relationships that no longer align with her destiny. She learns that pruning is necessary for growth. And though it hurts, she chooses purpose over popularity, alignment over attachment, destiny over history. A woman without support may survive for a while. She will eventually burn out. A woman with the wrong support may stumble into traps she could have avoided. But a woman with the right support, she thrives. She flourishes. She soars. Her circle becomes a reflection of her strength, a reinforcement of her resilience, and a reminder that she is not alone. And so she depends on her circle, not because she is weak, but because she is wise. She understands that strength is not proven by standing alone, but by standing together. She knows that her destiny is too great to be carried by her shoulders alone. She knows that iron sharpens iron, that voices of encouragement matter. Love multiplies when shared. That is why she builds carefully, chooses wisely, and invests deeply in her circle of support. Because when life tries to break her, circle helps hold her together. When the world tries to silence her, her circle amplifies her voice. Doubt tries to stop her, her circle pushes her forward. And that is the power of a smart woman's circle. It is not just about friendship. It is about alignment. It is not just about companionship. It is about destiny. It is not just about presence. It is about purpose. And when she has that circle, she is not just one woman. She is a force.